Hey everyone, and today we're taking a look at Amazing Yamaguchi Harley Quinn new color version. Now, I've talked about Amazing Yamaguchi before in my Hero reviews, but I haven't really ever talked about their other properties. Amazing Yamaguchi is under the Kyoto brand, and Kyoto makes highly articulated action figures. And Amazing Yamaguchi was focused on that comic side of that. And for a long time I was really interested in those figures, but there was never enough for me to pull the trigger and actually get one until my hero came along and I fell in love with these figures. It is terrible. I am not collecting them, but here and there, a few have interested me. Taking a look at the box, and it is pretty standard for Amazing Yamaguchi. They have the picture of the character there, Amazing Yamaguchi up here, DC, and a little window to see the figure. I love the designs of these boxes. They are just so outrageous. Getting to the back and you can see the absolute mayhem of this character and of this advertising. And why I chose the new color version is simple. I like it more. I do like the black and red. I do like the classic Harley Quinn look, but to me, when she goes blonde and the tips of her hair is dyed, it feels like a free Harley Quinn, an emancipated Harley Quinn, if you will. So I just like this version better. Now, I do think the ultimate design is the blonde on the red and black suit, but I'm not going to go buy the whole other figure just to do that. And opening an Amazing Yamaguchi box is always fun. You always get little treats here and there. Got Harley Quinn there, Mad Love. If I were to open this side, we get even more art. It looks like Suicide Squad stuff, some Harley Quinn Rebirth stuff, and here is some just beautiful art. And while you could display it on a wall or something like that, I'm not going to be doing that. It's just on a flimsy cardboard material, but it is nice. All the art just kind of gets you excited for the figure. Alright, and getting a look at all what the figure comes with, and it's not a lot, surprisingly, but we'll just have to see what all that is about. She comes with 4 pairs of hands, some accessories, some faces, and some action effects, so let's just get into it. So let us start with something that's not the figure. Amazing Yamaguchi comes with this nice base support arm and claw, but you can't just stick it into the back of the figure, as well as these 2 replacement joints. They look like the wrist joints, just in case yours break. That's always nice. And getting a closer look at the actual figure, and in my opinion, this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I do really love anime, and I love DC Comics, so this is a beautiful culmination of the two. It's got the anime aesthetics with the big eyes, the smallish mouth and nose, colorful, overly colorful look to her. The sculpt on this is beautiful, down to the muscles, on her back even. She's super thick, which I do like for Harley Quinn. I think if she's going to be a human character, she should be really strong, and so she's running all the time or kicking all the time. That's just my own personal rationalization to have such a thick figure. But the sculpt, I mean, her abs look really good. The paint apps are all super clean. Yeah, it's just all really good. And this figure didn't come out this year or anything, but it does show the progress that Amazing Yamaguchi has had in terms of making the character super articulated while also looking pretty normal proportion-wise. I say this because their earlier Amazing Yamaguchi figures looked a little broken and couldn't stand upright, but this figure definitely can. She looks perfectly fine in a vanilla pose. The absolute joy of this figure is just how articulated she is. There's nothing ever really stopping you from getting a pose that you want. And I can't say the same about a lot of other figures that I collect, so it's just fun in that way. And Amazing Yamaguchi is all about the fun, so I love that. Getting a closer look at her head and her expression, and you can see she's even articulated back here at her ponytails. There's a hinge swivel. But getting to the face, and the faces on the comic book figures have not been things that I've always liked about Amazing Yamaguchi, but I do think that the more anime they go, the better it looks. The softer faces, especially for a female character, works really, really well. I don't have really any complaints about this. Her hair is well sculpted. The face is, a little bit generic, but we will get to something that's really cool about it in a second. But overall, I think she looks great. I think even she could fit into a anime My Hero display or just an anime shelf in general. So that, again, I'm really biased in this conversation, but I do love this figure because it is a anime version of Harley Quinn. So before we get on to the other faces that she has, we should talk about the Amazing Yamaguchi eye gimmick. And this looks very disturbing, but having this in hand, turn it around and you can see that those eyes have little individual eye sockets. And you take this included tool, which was in that first tray, and it allows you to move the eyes in any which direction you'd like. Now, I've heard people complain about this. I actually don't have complaints about this because if I just put the piece in, turn it around this way, I can get the eyes pretty much anywhere I want them to go. And now we have Harley Quinn looking to her left. And this is a gimmick that I think is very underappreciated. I wish more action figures could do it, but I think it only does work because it's anime and because the eyes are so big. When Figma tried to do it, it didn't look very good at all. So I think it only works for anime things, but it definitely works and it brings the character to life quite a bit. And there we go, there's a possible pose for you. She's really happy, but she's also looking to her left, and it just adds a bit more motion, a bit more character to the figure. And that neutral face suddenly becomes a little bit smirky, suddenly becomes a little bit more mischievous, so really enjoy this aspect of the figure. You can't tell me this doesn't look good like a statue. Yeah, you can't. And they can go in really any direction you want. I'm not lying when I say that. You could even do something like that for all you degenerates. Moving on, and the second faceplate is a nice smile, and I do find this one a bit creepy. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's specifically this eye right here. Maybe if I moved it, it would look better, but right now it looks a little scary to me. So maybe I fixed it a little bit. I don't know, that this eye just seems a little bit more open than this eye, so it just looks a little bit stranger. Okay, so I've tried fixing it by having her look off to the side, but that did give me a little bit of an issue, so maybe these eyes aren't as great as I was just saying, but it is a nice, gentle smile, but it can look very creepy to me. And I don't really have much to say after that. That eye just looks a little buggy. I don't know, maybe there's a misprint on the makeup or something like that. I don't really know. You could get a little bit of a taunt there or something. I don't know. Yeah, not my favorite. I prefer this one more. Still, the eye gimmick is appreciated. Just not as successful as I guess I thought. Now, this last faceplate, again, looks a little creepy, and I can see a little bit better in there that I can see where the plastic meets the eye and there's no color in between. Now, from far away, obviously, that doesn't matter. You can't see it. You can't see it from this far away or on a shelf, but up close, way up close on this camera, I'm not going to say that it's perfect. Yet, this is my favorite face, and it is kind of Suicide Squad-y. I don't know if that's a word, but it's not. It is kind of a Margot Robbie Suicide Squad thing to do, but it just has a lot of character. She's blowing gum, and you can do quite a bit with that. And a plus to this specific head is that you don't have to worry about changing the other eye. So if you want her to be looking anywhere, you only have to move one, and it'll always look normal because this one is closed. And those are her three faces. So let's move on to the hands. So starting with her first pair of hands, and she comes packaged with a pair of fists. And fists are pretty standard for action figures. Nothing new, nothing special here. However, it's interesting that these are probably the most boring hands in all that she comes with. She comes with some other weapons that are a bit more fun, so it's interesting. Anyway, they look nice. The painting's pretty good. It's probably a little bit of bleed on the fingers, but overall, pretty good. Next, she comes with a pair of dynamic open action hands, and they are both the same, but depending on how you pose her, they can look completely different. So in this pose, from the box, you can see that it looks like she has one of her hands around her hips and the other one looks like she's showing off something. These are pretty fun, a lot better than the fists in my opinion, but still not the best hands. Quite interesting. Anyway, here's a cute pose. And here's a closer look at those hands. Painting again is pretty good. Actually, I think they're better than the fists. But yeah, there you go. Her third pair of hands are these weapon holding hands, even trigger figure holding hands, so you could put a gun in there probably, but she doesn't come with any guns. But they can hold her weapons, which are these baseball bat and giant old cartoon hammer. I like both of these. I think they both fit the character really well. So sculpt wise, they're pretty good. Nothing special, I guess. I mean, everything's done right and it looks good, but it's not real die-cast metal or anything. It's not real wood. It doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on it, so they're good. That's what I'm saying. To get the goofy old hammer in there is pretty easy. You just slot it through, and you can't tell me that doesn't look good. Like this muscular short Harley Quinn carrying this big old hammer. I love it. The baseball bat's a bit of a different story. You have to take this apart, slide this piece underneath the hand, like so, and there you go. Dual wielding Harley Quinn, or just have one of these weapons. I think it's just a bunch of fun. Having accessories, weapons that the figure can interact with is always a plus in my book. Speaking of these accessories, and if you turn them around, you can see that there's a port right there and right here, and that is for the action effect piece. And it is a nice, almost My Hero style onomatopoeia piece, which says boofsh, boofsh, which is kind of funny. Little ball joint with a peg right there, which allows you to add this very comic book effect onto the weapons. So let's get it into a pose that shows it off a bit better. And there you go, there's Harley Quinn squashing a bug because, I don't know, maybe she hates bugs. I don't think she probably does, but there you see the effect. There you see the big old hammer, and there you can see how it attaches onto there. So, it's fun, it's goofy, I enjoy it. Let's move on. And her last pair of hands, her fourth and final pair of hands, are probably the most interesting, only because they're both different. So, she gets a right hand that is pointing at something. She's either pointing at her dogs, her hyenas, to go attack someone, or she could very much be pointing to herself. Same goes for this thumbs up. She could be addressing herself, speaking, saying something very Harley Quinn-like, or she could be telling you how much she disapproves of what you just said. These are both pretty interesting, and I think obviously you can mix and match your hands. So in one hand she's holding a baseball bat, and the other she might be pointing at you, letting you know that she's going to attack you. In fact, let's get her into that very pose. And this is quick and easy, and it's just, the figure looks beautiful. This belt keeps riding up, which is annoying. Probably should have mentioned that earlier, but push it down. This figure looks, in my opinion, gorgeous. The sculpt, the paint, everything. Specifically the sculpt, though. And here is just a very easy pose of her with her baseball bat, and it's a vanilla pose, but it still looks good. There's a bit more action to it. Her eyes are looking in the direction that she's pointing, which is another big thing. So, yeah, overall, pretty cool. Harley Quinn's last accessories are these multicolored roller skate. This is very Harley Quinn-like. I think she'll probably be wearing these in my shelf for all of eternity. I just like the fact that she gets around by roller skate. I don't know. But they are sculpted well. They look to be... You can see it's basically the same sculpt, although it doesn't have the toe bend, but obviously at the bottom one has treads, which that's a nice detail, and the other one has roller skates, and these are well painted, like the little stop right there, the metallic paint. So let's get them on. And so here on this channel we talk a lot about character and character translation in the plastic form. I'm not a huge snob when it comes to articulation. I don't really care about how accurate face sculpts are, but if the general essence of the character is there, I'm probably gonna like it. And this is one of those things that really does it for me. I love these quite a bit. They feel like something the character would do. It feels specific to the character, which is a big thing. I think the fact that they feel specific to the character is a big thing for me, and for those reasons, I quite enjoy this figure. With all that being said, I don't think it's a perfect figure by any means. The conclusion being, I don't think it's a perfect figure, it's just a lot of fun for me. That could be different for you, but I like the character, I like the anime aesthetic, I enjoy the gimmicks that come with it, but I don't think it comes with as many accessories as I would have liked. For instance, if you're gonna do a baseball bat, why not add a second hairpiece that has a baseball helmet? That seems like something Harley Quinn would do. She could have come with more weapons. I think the faces are pretty good. I think that the fact that they're all so happy and cutesy is maybe not as character specific as I would have liked. Harley Quinn can be a little sassy. She can be a little mean-spirited, but I guess she does always have some sort of smile on her face. My thoughts on this figure are a bit strained. Because I want to be objective, but I can't deny the fact that I had fun with it. Do I think it's worth how much it costs? No. But if that is the entry fee into a pretty fun figure, I don't necessarily mind it that much. Anyway, that's my review. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned for more content, and with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.